Good evening. It's 6 o'clock on Thursday, June 30th, 2016. Welcome and thank you for joining us tonight for the English edition of Aura News, where we bring you today's top stories, translated into English every weeknight. Members of Parliament were presented today with the new Constitution. The document is supported by the United States and the European Union and reflects the constitutional amendments adopted by the Ad Hoc Commission on Judicial Reform. It is scheduled to be voted on in the Parliament on July 21st. The opposition remains decisive to not vote on the constitutional amendments without the inclusion of Venice's Recommendation 88. The cover of the document displays the emblems of the European Union, Euralis, the U.S. Department of Justice, the Venice Commission, OSCE, and the Soros Foundation. The United States Embassy clarified that this is not an official publication of the Republic of Albania, but a document that aims to inform the Albanian public about the amendments to their constitution. Former Prime Minister Sali Berisha called on the majority to vote on the reform according to Venice's Recommendation 88 so that the EU candidate country status will not be removed. Considering the German MP's appeal if the reform is not adopted, the former Prime Minister called on the majority to accept the Venice recommendation. We should leave the games behind, accept Venice's Recommendation 88 and adopt the judicial reform, said Berisha, adding that the opposition will not allow the Prime Minister to have control over the justice system. There is nothing that can make the opposition leave the justice system in the hands of Edi Rama, added Berisha. Today's plenary session was relatively quiet, with the only debate being between the Minister of Energy and the Democrat MP Bushati on energy tenders. During today's plenary session, the Socialist MP Ben Blushi spoke about the constitutional change initiative signed by 10 MPs for the president to be elected by the people. According to Blushi, if the president is elected by the people, the public interest is better protected. The president should be elected by the people. The public interest is better protected with millions of voters than by 140 deputies. Most Western democracies elect their president by direct vote. We support this amendment, convinced that the constitutional changes made with the judicial reform should also treat the issue of electing the president of the republic. We are not talking about the president's competencies and the form of our republic, which is parliamentary. Many in this room do not want the president to be elected by the people. Yesterday, we launched an online petition. It has received 1,000 signatures so far, and I am convinced that many more will sign it, declared the Socialist MP, who then invited the citizens to sign the petition and turn the amendment into a permanent constitutional norm. The Ombudsman experts have discovered that children in 9 childcare centers are experiencing physical and psychological violence. After a concern was raised by experts who inspected the centers, the Ombudsman asked the local governments for extra funds to monitor these centers. The Ombudsman told the responsible institutions to complete the necessary reforms and improve the treatment of children who are under state's protection. The local government, the central government, local and international organizations, media, and stakeholders should undertake immediate action to strengthen the system of social protection, to treat the causes of violations and their prevention, said the Ombudsman, calling the policymakers to have child rights as a priority on their agenda. According to the UNICEF rep, violence in childcare centers is not a phenomenon happening only in Albania. She asked the state to provide more financial support to the children whose lives are in these centers. Not only in Albania, but also in the other world countries, children do not enjoy their rights. Around 560 children in Albania are being raised in state care centers. 90% of Albanian children have one or both parents alive, but need more financial support so that they can care for their children without leaving them in these centers. We must act now. Children living in these institutions are threatened by violence. We must change this, the UNICEF rep said. The Ombudsman raised the concern that local governments have limited financial possibilities to monitor the institutions that depend on it. The government has found a solution for citizens who have applied for a pension but lacked documentation to verify their work experience before January 1st, 1994. The Minister of Social Welfare and Youth announced the decision adopted by the Council of Ministers. The decision aims to solve some fundamental problems of documentation and validity periods of insurance for all those people who have worked in former state enterprises prior to January 1st, 1994. Currently, there are several court decisions and thousands of delayed processes for registering and unregistering the citizens' rights. The law aims to end these irregularities, said the Minister of Social Welfare and Youth. Thanks to another government decision, pensioners in rural areas will be compensated for the first 300 kilowatts of the energy they spend. The minister added that the decision was made to come to the aid of thousands of pensioners who live in rural areas. The minister said that over 5,000 people will be added to the list of people who receive compensation from the government, and that the compensatory funds will be given through the Social Insurance Fund. For the first time, the government has a national plan of action for the disabled. This strategic document, as the minister described, aims to integrate disabled people into society. The main areas of the plan are education, employment, vocational training, as well as social and health care. Vienna has opened the Trans-Montana Forum with senior representatives from many countries. Present at the event, Albania's President Bujar Nishani focused on the latest European developments, Albania and the Western Balkans European perspective. The President stressed that the European integration process, regardless of the latest European developments, continues to be massively supported by the Albanian citizens and political forces. Albania's European integration process has the support of 90% of the population. All political forces in the country, without exception, have fully supported the process. Saying this at this time when the Union itself is undergoing a tremendous challenge after Brexit probably sounds bizarre to the ears of not only the Eurosceptics, but to the Europeans who are not clear about the future of the European Union. But Albania's process of integration into the European Union means standards, development, and welfare. So the European integration is not only a dream, but also a major strategic objective of the country and the only alternative of development, said the President. Mr. Nishani also stressed that it is important for the European Union, its institutions, and member states to continue paying attention to the process of integrating the Western Balkan countries into the Union. The investment made for peace, reconciliation, stability, and development of the region should be further preserved. Despite the progress made, the stability in the region is still vulnerable because of the demons of the past, still wander into the Balkans. The reforms undertaken by the countries of the region should not be discouraged by further encouraged by the EU, said the President. The National Agency of Natural Resources appealed to all mining entities today to declare their data online, including production, mineral quality, sales, etc. Sources from the agency stated that the quarterly data declarations from the companies are now obligatory by order of the Minister of Energy and Industry. Sources also informed us that online statements will be necessary every 3 months and once a year by entities operating in the mining industry to comply with transparency and fight against corruption. According to data, about 700 mining entities operate throughout the country. That's all for our English edition this evening. Please join us again Monday through Saturday at 6 p.m. for your local news in English. My name is Mari, and on behalf of Aura News, thank you and good night.
Ka një mënyrë të re, të thjeshtë dhe të shpejtë për të